Hey guys, what is up? This is Mr. A. Crizzy here, and welcome back to another movie review. In this movie review, I'm going to be doing a movie review on the 1998 movie starring Jim Carrey, and that's going to be on The Truman Show. So, I remember recording this movie on my DVR like a long time ago, back in I think in 2014 or something, or 15, whatever, but I think it was 2014 when I first recorded this movie from the TV, from my DVR long ago. But then, but then, but then at the time, I only saw the first half and the beginning of the movie, and then I never got my chance to watch the whole movie until all the way up until recently, I think a few days ago. So yeah, it's kind of hard to believe about that. But anyway, so I finally got my chance to rent this movie on Amazon. And so the Truman Show is about a guy named Truman Burbank, and he played by the one and only Jim Carrey. And pretty much, the movie is pretty much, everything in Truman Burbank's life is part of a massive TV set. And of course, and he himself actually doesn't know it, that he's part of a massive TV set. And the executive producer of the show, like Christoph, of course, the guy like Christoph, who's played by Ed Harris. And he pretty much, orchestrates like the Truman Show, and a live broadcast of Truman's every move captured by hidden cameras. Christoph tries to control Truman's mind, even removing his true love, Sylvia, from the show and replacing her with Meryl. As Truman gradually discovers the truth, however, he must decide whether to act on it. And pretty much, the movie is Truman has to do has to try his best to do whatever he can to see whether whether to act on it, between his life on a TV set, or yeah. So I like I said, I got my chance to watch the whole movie on Amazon recently, and I gotta say, guys, this is one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies of all time. Yeah, because I've always loved Jim Carrey ever since, cause I really like a lot of his movies back in the late 90s and the early 90s, of course. And I gotta say, guys, the Truman Show is one of my Jim Carrey movies. Now that I watched the whole movie, the Truman Show is one of my favorite movies with Jim Carrey. Yeah, because even though this movie does have a little bit of comedy in it, since it is Jim Carrey, that there is like a type of funny humor for just a little bit, but not too much. Since this movie is actually more kind of like a drama film. Because from what I heard from one of my subscribers commented on my thoughts on the Truman Show, it was actually like one of those movies where it made some people cry. Because I'm not going to give away the ending, or just to some of you guys who haven't seen it, but there's a lot of this people on this planet who have seen the Truman Show, because it was pretty much how at the end of the Truman Show, like how Truman's on this sailboat, and then of course he crashes into like a sky wall, and then of course and then of course he pretty much and pretty much the ending scene just concludes with Truman walking through the door to the walls, and walking into the door, and yeah, that's pretty much the best way I can describe that ending scene, because because there is a lot of Jim Carrey fans out there who have seen the Truman Show, and like I said, this is one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies of all time, because this movie was very awesome, and it was awesome, and it was emotional as well. And like I said, it was kind of funny at some parts, but there's not too much funny humor when it comes to Jim Carrey playing Truman, but he doesn't know that he's part of a TV show set called The Truman Show. Yeah, because even the performances in this movie I thought were well done. I think this is actually one of Jim Carrey's best roles he's ever done, because Jim Carrey was actually great in the movie. He did an awesome job playing Truman Burbank. And Laura Linney, who's in the movie, who plays Meryl, I thought she did good. And oh yeah, and Ed Harris, who plays Christoph, Ed Harris, I thought he did good. and it's pretty much how like all the other actors who were in this movie, that there was also some other cameos of some other people that so like some viewers and audiences that were watching this whole thing. Of course, they were watching this whole thing with Truman, and yeah, and pretty much there's also been other movies as well that kind of made a reference to the Truman Show. Yeah, because like even some of those plots and stories for later movies, they even took inspiration from the Truman Show. Like, Don't Worry, Darling, because I think from what I heard, I think last year's movie that Olivia Wilde directed, which I saw in theaters with my cousin Ashley and her friend Heather, because I can see how Don't Worry, Darling kind of feels a little bit like the Truman Show, while at the same time the Stepford Wives. And yeah. But even the following year in 1999, Ron Howard and Brian Grazer actually made another movie which takes inspiration from the Truman Show, and it kind of does feel a little bit like the Truman Show, because in 1999, Ron Howard and Brian Grazer made their own version of the Truman Show called Ed TV. And I kind of liked Ed TV. I think Ed TV I thought was good. And I think it's probably in my opinion, I think it's one of Ron Howard's underrated films that he worked on, which I'll get to that review in a second once I'm finished with this, once I'm finished editing and talking about the Truman Show. But yeah, it's like pretty much almost everything about the Truman Show is awesome. It's emotional and it's funny, and it's definitely and like I said, it's definitely one of Jim Carrey's best movies he's worked on, and Jim Carrey definitely nails it as Truman Burbank. Yeah. So aside from all that, overall, The Truman Show was an awesome, amazing movie, and I'm gonna give The Truman Show 4 out of 5 stars. If you haven't watched The Truman Show yet, then I don't know I don't know how are you missing out on these really, really great Jim Carrey movies from like the early days, because I recommend checking out The Truman Show. It's really good. And there you have it, guys. That's going to be it for my movie review on The Truman Show. And that's going to be it for this video, so make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Mr. A. Crizzy saying, goodbye everybody, and that's about it.